what else? Anything from you guys before we start? No? Anjali? No? All right, well, we're gonna get started. We've got 10 demos. The demos are now gonna still be eBay or Evite. So a lot of them are gonna be concepts that you already heard a little bit about. Some of them might be a little bit different or might have been modified since then. But we'll get to see what was built, what it looked like. We've kind of given the script of what you're supposed to go over. And yeah, I'm really excited to see it. So let's start. Well, how much are we doing for time again? Is it 4 minutes? Okay. 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Keith, and so I built in Replit because you guys said use Replit or Claude Code, probably Replit, so I started there because I don't have a coding background, and I'm very excited that I built something and it does something, and that is awesome. So Elocity is my concept, and so this is my spin on eBay, and who is the user here? The user here is if you're a roboticist, if you're into industrial robots, you work with robots, maybe you're a prosumer who has sort of a high level, high dollar interest in robots. You know, I started out just pursuing a clone of eBay, and I realized, one, that really wasn't the assignment, so if you did that too, I did it as well. And I realized that that's way too broad, right? So what we want to do, we want to focus on a niche. We want to find a super serve, a niche where we can land and expand. And I just felt like even to take it down to robotics, that's way too wide. So go into the industrial and the prosumer robotics. And then from there, you know, to start, we just have what is a marketplace of interesting, you know, parts. We have used items. Then you can go in. Let's jump in, and we can bid on a Boston Dynamics spot. This guy, and that is a great one, and bidding works. If we wanted to waste a lot of time, we could go through the actual mechanics here. I've got an auto bid feature, so we've got some robotic bids just so you can actually see the bidding function and how the auctions work. But we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Should we just go back to the live auctions again? See what we've got. Now, key features. So how are we differentiating this, right? Because anybody can build a marketplace. So one of the things that I realized going through this process and just about robotics in general, you may not know anything about robotics, but you probably actually know more than you think, because it's going to operate a lot like the used auto market. Right, so if you bought a new one, now you need a new part, you're going to have to go to the OEM, they're going to try to charge you through the teeth, that's going to be slow. So again, if you're working with robots, you know, that's a real problem. That's why this is a good choice for a land and expand. You know, the marketplace for secondary robotics just has not been built yet. And this feature comes, really I stole it from a company called 1A Auto that is a great, I have a Toyota truck with 300,000 miles on it, and learning how you change out the parts. You know, one of the things that's super helpful is to have somebody who's not going to charge you too much, and you go in and you build and you put in, okay, well, here's my machine. What do I have? I've got a robot, it's not a drone. I've got an Apptronic. I've got an Apptronic Apollo. And then let's see, I've got a 2026. All right, put it in. So now you can go in and you can see just sort of what's for sale on the marketplace that goes with the model that I have. You're also getting just some instant feedback, some reason to actually log your robot and start giving us that data. You can see service records. This one's still going to be under warranty. You can see some just sort of the basic features of it. And that gives you the opportunity to register the robot. And one of the things I learned through this process is that actually building out that feature changed really what the business model should be, changed what the value of this business should be, because the registry business and owning the data of a large volume of robot owners' information is more valuable than the little spread you could make on selling parts and being a marketplace. So now you can be the honest dealer that I want to be in the marketplace. You can be the guy who says, hey, you just need this little part. You don't need to replace a whole arm. You just need a little shoulder rotator. We can sell you that for cheap. And that's how you really get the value, and you become, at that point, infrastructure, right? So a lot of people will come up with being a marketplace, but if you can get in early and become infrastructure in what becomes the secondary mark for robotics, that's pretty good. And then the other thing, I kind of stole this idea from class, is the AI diagnostics feature, which is the third feature that I felt we really wanted to have in the MVP. Simple to add, and the basic concept is that you can go in, just do a drop and drag of what's wrong with your robot here, you load it up. As we build over time, we'll have an AI library where we can diagnose exactly what that problem is, just like A1 Auto does with auto parts. And then, of course, we'll have real people who can interact with you and say, this is what the problem is, solve it. And so now we have a whole lot of reasons for people to use this. And I think as an MVP, I feel like it succeeds because I feel like it explains those three key features.
Can you demo that last part? Does it work?
Oh, it doesn't, like, it won't, if you actually try to upload a video, it's not going to go anywhere now.
Okay, so it's just a picture of what it might look like.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, go. Yeah, so awesome. Well, this is really cool. I think, I think you should push yourself more because I think you can take that video and do stuff with it. And like I think, even in the time frames that we have. So, push more for the actual functionality of what really differentiates this. And that's the thing that I think, as if you were to try to make this a strong product or company, it's got to be way better than using eBay for this. And I think those are all the features that make it like special for robotics. And you've got a bunch of those nailed down, but then it's like, I'm hoping to get more to no, I actually made it work, as opposed to like, here's what it would look like if it worked with a whole bunch of fake data. And I think you can do more of that. That's what we're gonna hope to see.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Great job. What did you find were the challenges? What did you learn in trying to build this?
So one of the things that was a surprise frustration was actually working with photos, and AI generated photos really. I thought Replit would be able to do a very good job of me saying a very specific robot part and then having it pick that up. Does not. That was really frustrating, and that was sort of I think me learning the tool. And I don't know. Is it going to GPT? Is that where they're actually generating their photos from? But yeah, it was like something that was supposed to be an Apptronic Apollo arm came back as like a woman writing in a laptop, and it was like a human arm, and just a non-fit. So you certainly couldn't do like a sequence of posts. That was a little bit surprising. But on the other side, as you said in the first class, I mean, it figures out and it knows what these websites are and look like. And if you tell it what you want, you iterate, it'll build it pretty fast.
So maybe some of the things you might be able to try as well would be like asking it to come up with a plan, especially when you hit one of those problems. What have you got? Some pizza? And she's very happy, very proud of herself. Thank you.
So instead of criticizing
but what if you could, you say to it, you say, hey, I'm having trouble getting really good data about robot parts and good pictures that are legit. How do I build a library of those and make that better? And I bet it would come up with ideas of how to do better than it. And some of that might be using different AIs or different tools. But I think you can do a lot of those things. And like that's part of this whole thing that I hope you're all learning is like it's not just building the demo. Like it will go build the data sets. It will go, you can get it to go do a lot of this for you. And you have to ask it to teach you how to do it or to come up with a plan for how to go do it.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Let's
Very
do the
good.
next one. Yeah. Thanks, good job. Reminder, please try not to leave food on the floor. The dog's finding some pizza. She's very happy, but.
Alright, so hi guys, my name's Angad, and so what I did here for my demo was I tried to create an eBay with a little bit of a twist based on the problems that sellers face, especially as first-time sellers, right? So how many of you guys have ever tried to sell something for the very first time? Exactly. And one of the problems that you could potentially face is you don't know how to price your item correctly. You don't know how to exactly go about shipping, right? You don't know exactly what are the best ways to make decisions as a first-time seller to ensure that you can take your product from being a listing to actually being sold. So what I decided to make was kind of an AI tool where we have a marketplace and it kind of helps you make those decisions using a performance match score. So I'm going to show you two separate examples of this. So one example is just, say you can upload an image if you want, or you can actually manually input information right here. But if you upload an image, it automatically fills out everything for you. And at the bottom with the description, you can go ahead and auto-generate whatever. Look, it kind of takes the image and kind of auto-generates a description for you, and you can change that according to your liking.
For that image, is that like, will it only do that image? Like,
No. It can actually.
Can you do lots of other images?
Mhm.
And what about like, could it be just like an actual like picture of me wearing a shirt, or does it have to be like just the shirt?
No, it can be like an actual picture of you wearing it as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's like, it took me a while to figure it out, but I was able to actually get it to connect to the cloud, and then it was able to pull like data and like create like these recommendations or descriptions. So over here you have the condition, you have the image, it's a piece of clothing, right? And then so this is where we get kind of the most important information at. So down here we actually have like a set your price, right? Like what's the right price? So over here it's adjusted at 161 bucks based on like previous trends and analysis of like current products. So we can click that. And then down here for shipping, what's the best shipping for us, right? So it selects it automatically for you, and it exactly tells you why you want that specific kind of shipping. And then at the very bottom, it actually, to kind of give you that credibility and trust in using this platform, it gives you like a detailed description of like recent comparable sales of other similar types of products and why exactly those sold quicker, or like how those can potentially apply to your product. And then yeah, as you can see at the top, it's at a 92%. The one place that we're lacking is title quality, and for the confidence score, that's actually the confidence that the system has in itself of the rating. So to some extent, you do need to do your own due diligence as well as a first-time seller, but for the most part, this is helping you with those kind of like first-time products. And then you can go ahead and publish it. It shows up on the marketplace right over here. And if you were a buyer, you can go ahead and just buy now. You can place the order. And then you have your contact seller, the view item. So I actually ran into a few different problems while creating this, because you could see the buyer and the seller's point of view on the same dashboard. So it took me a few iterations to actually figure out how to separate those two. And then for some of them, I honestly was not able to even create the dashboard for the first 3 iterations for the seller, so that took a while to kind of like iterate as well. But now I want to show you guys like how the match score would actually change if you were to put something like outside of the range. So an example of that, say that you have these right here, right? These Nike shoes. So it'll pull up all the information you need. You can auto-generate the description, right? And then you can go to the next page. So say that we chose something outside of the recommended range, like 20 bucks. That's what happens to the performance match score. It's not that good. It's like you need to like rethink your decision to sell it that low, because
it says right at the top, why? Because price is too low.
Exactly. Yeah, so it gives you all the information you need to make those decisions. And then at the same price, shipping, right? Say that we ship it in small. Once again, it continues to drop because it's just not ideal for the type of product that you're looking to sell. In fact, those shoes wouldn't even fit in the small packages. So yeah, you can still publish it with the poor score, but the idea is that yeah, you don't want to, because the system's telling you that it's not an accurate reflection of current marketplace trends. But yeah, so the reason I decided to create this was because I genuinely believe that a lot of first-time sellers, whether they're like elderly people who are looking to get rid of things from their house, right, or casual buyers or casual sellers in college, right, such as myself, it would be really helpful to have these kind of tools to actually determine what's the right price point and what's the right type of you could say shipping, or just I need something to help me make these decisions. So that's what Launch Step specifically is for. So yeah, thank you very much.
I was impressed by how much functionality you got actually working. And it was around the core aspects, which make it meaningful, the feedback on the rating score, the lookup on the item. If you were going to launch this live as a real company, what do you think some of the other data challenges, what would be some of the challenges that you would need to overcome?
So the very first one that I noticed, and I tried to like fix it, but after multiple iterations, like I wasn't kind of able to, is the recommendation for the price range. Because right now it's like, for example, the last one, it was from 48 all the way to 300. That's like way too wide. And so getting it to be more specific and more exact, I think, would be like the next like most important thing for me.
Yep, got it. Were you just using sample data to come up with those?
What tools did you use?
So I only use Lovable. I tried Replit initially, but it didn't give me the interface that I wanted, and I didn't really like the interface. So I thought, like, why not try Lovable? And Lovable actually turned out to be like much better for me. So I just stuck with Lovable. That's the only thing I use. I know on Lovable it allows you to connect to the cloud, so that's what I did to get that data. And then yeah, after I think like 4 iterations, I was able to reach this, or 5.
One of my close friends just flew to Sweden to start working for Lovable yesterday. He's going
It's a
from
Swedish
New York.
company?
Sorry?
It's a Swedish company.
Yeah, in Stockholm.
Cool. All right. Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Alright, cool. So, hi everyone. My name is Francesca, and today I'm pitching Lovable, which is my eBay spinoff. Excuse me, I'm pitching Inspo. Sorry. So basically what Inspo is it's a sustainable secondhand marketplace for people who are, let's say, if you're a first-time apartment mover, so like, you know, you just moved into college, or you just got a new job and you're really tired and you're frustrated, you just had a long drive and you're like, damn, I need to move into this apartment, I need to sleep, and I need to get on with the things I need to do, right? And so basically Inspo helps users get to feel at home like as fast as possible. So I'm just gonna walk y'all through this app. So as you can see, it's actually like optimized for iOS, for like mobile, but you can also use it like on your laptop as well. Y'all can't really see it, but I have it here pulled up on my phone. It's got like pretty much the base like eBay features, so you can browse, there's auctions, you have your cart, etc. And Inspo's main feature is this one right here, in which you can actually take a photo or you can upload one straight from your device. So let's see, I don't know, let's say I'm like decorating my kitchen, right? And I really like this Mediterranean blue vibe. And so I can go on my phone and I can take a picture of it and use this as my inspo. Now I'll just do pretty much like the same thing on my laptop because like you can't see my tiny phone screen. You use this photo and it says like, whoa, like looks like I'm furnishing a bedroom. In the example on my phone, it was a kitchen. Here I just have like a picture of a bedroom, but yeah, that's pretty much right. Let's see. Now, if I wanted to, I could go and select like all these like different preferences based on like what's my vibe. Do I like cozy? Do I like more statement pieces? Or if I'm just like so tired, I'm like, I don't want to deal with any of this, so I'm just gonna show everything. And as we can see here, it generated product recommendations for us. You can do like one tap to add to cart, and if you just like all of them, you could add all to cart if you really wanted to. Let's see, and so this MVP basically just demonstrates like the entire like user flow. Basically from product discovery to pickup. And so we have here our checkout page. It gives us a preview of like how tiring this would be, and like as you can imagine, this is like what, like 11 products. I don't think that's like too feasible to pick up, and so it's basically telling you like, hey, you should probably chill. But if I had only selected like 2 products, then it would be saying like, this is easy. I can select a pickup window, and it says, oh wait, I can't pick this up tomorrow, so I'll pick something else. And everything's available. My credit card is already loaded up. Purchase all.
And so when it says 7 pickup options, that's like 7 different places?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So order confirmed. Let's see. All right, cool. We have our pickup plan. Cool. And let's say that I'm like actually driving around and like doing these pickups. I can just go through this. Awesome. And all my pickups are complete. At this point, I've already gone all my items. But yeah, in terms of this MVP, I intentionally made the scope used to only like to account for the buyer and not the seller logic. One of the main like risks I foresee is like figuring out like the seller logic. Is because like coordinating all those different like pickup locations, that's going to be a whole other thing along with like user like trust and privacy as well. But yeah, there's a bunch more you can experiment with, and I actually have it.
Where does
here.
the inventory come from? Did you have to upload all those, or is it
Yeah.
finding them?
Yeah, so I had to like make all these like manually by myself. This is one of the things I did get too carried away with. I added a little too much, but I think it has some good product variety. But yeah, if you guys actually want to try this out, like for yourself, you can scan this QR code, take a picture of any of these like for your inspo, or if you want, I've actually trained like the ML classification model that my app is running. I trained it for like on Capital Factory spaces, so it should give you like minimal or something like that. But yeah, that's inspo. Happy to answer any questions.
Andrew or Eric?
I mean, I'm always curious just to hear the tools rundown. I think that's just super helpful to understand how.
Yeah, so
people
let's
build these
try to
things.
make that part of the report at the end. So what did you use to build this?
Yeah, so my main tool that I used was Lovable, but I didn't want to like use all of my credits, and I know how to code, and so I just like basically what I did, I made like one big like master prompt of everything I wanted for like the first pass, and then from there plugged it in, ran it through, and then I would like make like smaller iterations using ChatGPT. So I like pick out something I want to edit, and then I'll fix it up in there, and then I'll save like the bigger edits like for Lovable. And then
Do you mean edits in the code, or were you giving it more prompts?
more prompts. Yeah. And then for like this right here, like the actual inspo feature, and like figuring out how like it determines this, I actually used another resource called Teachable Machine. It's from Google. It's basically like free like a mini ML model. Like you can make one yourself online. You basically just give it samples, figure out like what you want it to do, and that's pretty much it. I don't have it for like the full right. I don't know what happened, but I think it got like deleted or something. But basically, that's how like the classification works.
That sounds cool.
That's not a flow. Are you flow charting it with that tool? And then because it flows into the training. What's it doing?
Yeah, so let's say for like this inspo, right, I have like 5 different room themes. So I would essentially give it like a class. So one of them is like Mediterranean. I can just upload like photos of Mediterranean kitchens, bedrooms, blah, blah, so and so. And then I just hit train, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
How did you export the model that you trained into?
Yeah, good question. There's an option to like export it, and you can publish it, and then it'll give you like, you see right here, it'll give you a link. I basically just like integrated that like in my code. Like if you ask Lovable or ChatGPT like, hey, I got this link, I want to put it in, like it'll figure it out for you. A couple of tweaks. Yeah.
That's awesome. I want to check that out. Yeah. Cool. Great job. I really liked how you worked your differentiation. Like you had a clear, like it was kind of the eBay interface, but then the differentiator was very clear, and it was like the center button, and it was a completely different workflow. And I definitely see how it creates a different experience both for the user and then probably makes them buy more stuff because you're giving them like all these suggestions at once that go together. So I think there's a lot of interesting things about it. Sounds really
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you. Yeah. The main thing about it is like instead of like having an endless scroll like on eBay, like you're constantly like looking for products, or an inspo, like looking for inspo. You're like, dang, I like this, I like that. You get all this like decision fatigue, right? And basically my prototype kind of cuts that off so that, you know, it's just like it's one and done. It tries to take you from product discovery to the end to like check out and pick up as fast as possible. But yeah.
Your point about the seller side made me think, why wouldn't there be an API drop-off for any merchant to sell anything in their store? You know, that someone else, all these apps are gonna be developed, you know, they could sell for the merchant, if it's Target or whomever. Why wouldn't they have a drop-off point with the data and their product where you could just?
It's just gonna be AI marketing from now on. Because you have to like put, yeah, it's like
Right.
SEO. You have to like get your stuff found by the AI.
Right.
I mean, that
So that you can transact, you know,
Right.
with
Yeah.
any merchant.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that could definitely be another option. Right now, just for like the scope of the product, I kind of envision it to be like really like peer to peer. But that's definitely like a good idea, like expanding it to merchants as well. Because I mean, why not? More
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Let anyone sell anything for Target.
Well, if you look on eBay, a lot of the sellers on eBay are actually real stores too. So.
Yeah.
All right, great job. Next one. Thank you. So let's start with name, what school you're in, and what tools you used, just as a quick background as we start.
Hey, I'm Aryan, and this is Rebay. What I used to build it was React with Claude Code, as well as Supabase for the backend. And yeah.
Cool.
So, what Rebay is, it's eBay, but in reverse. So, who's going to be using this website? It's going to be the buyers, people that are looking for these niche items, and they don't want to be looking for, like, through dozens of websites and things like that. And the sellers, people that have these niche items or any items in general just at home, just waiting to be sold. And what Rebay does differently is it massively benefits the buyers by allowing you to post requests. And what that means is if you have an item, or if you want an item and no one is selling it on the website, then when you post a request, people that are scrolling through the website will be able to see that you want this item and realize, hey, I have this item, and they'll be able to approach you with an offer. So, for example, someone wants this Logitech G Pro Superlight mouse, right? And I'll say, I have this mouse, right? Let me go to the other one. So I'll say, hey, I have this mouse, and I'll come in here, I'll say, so the person is has a budget of $180, so I can do that, so I'll just put in how much I'll be willing to offer, and what it does is it'll send a message, so I'll just say, hey, I have this item, and I'll just submit the bid, and what that does is it'll submit a chat message to that other account, which is over here, and it sends it to them, and now we can discuss like everything about the item and stuff like that. We also have all these categories, just like the standard eBay, as well as the normal flow where we have auctions and items for sale. So these will just be like your regular, you'll purchase it right now. This one right here is my listing. So I'll be able to post listings and things like that. So I guess I could show you the flow for posting a request. So let's say I want, I have this espresso machine that I'm looking for, and I'll just say like espresso machine. And once I'll say it's worth $480 and home and garden. You can also put in a deadline to say like, oh, I need the item by this day. So let's say I need it by February 12th, and then you can just put in any random details or things like that. So once I post this request, so it'll show up right here immediately, and the other account will be able to purchase it or offer to sell it to them as well. I've also implemented Stripe with the standard purchasing flow over here. So if I pay for this Kindle Oasis, for example, I'll be able to view my orders, and I can see like everything I've sold, everything I've purchased in the past, as well as my current listings and my current requests.
That's great. Really good job.
Yeah, so in conclusion, I feel that it would be very useful for the buyers especially, and one of the things that I began with that I had to change was that initially everything was kind of like compacted together into like one flow, but I realized that it was much easier to find the items if everything was split into these like wanted and for sale / auction kind of things.
Yeah. Is there a price negotiation thing going on when something's wanted and you say, I'm willing to pay $480, and someone says, okay, I got it, but I want $500 for it?
Yeah. So
is it just text, or is it like
that's how it works? So let's say I submit a bid I'll submit a bid to this person, and their budget is $700. I could put like $800 here, and then tell them I would sell this to you for $800, and then when it sends the chat message, like the buyer and the seller will be able to go over it.
And the price will be at $800?
Yeah, like that's what it will show them initially.
Yeah.
And then,
It reminds me of before Booking.com, it was called Priceline, and the original Priceline founder gave a talk where he was saying, in Priceline model, you come and you bid on a room, but those are available rooms for a hotel. But there should be another model where if there's a hotel that's completely sold out on a given weekend, you could create liquidity in those rooms, and they would sell those rooms if they could sell them at a higher price, if they knew that they had a willing buyer. It seems like that's the dynamic. It's really clever. It's like you're creating that dynamic where you create liquidity in goods that are just sitting around. How do you think about if you're the seller, I guess, you wouldn't need to put your inventory, you just look at what people are willing to potentially buy, and you say, oh, I have that. Is that the idea?
Yeah, you can do it either way. So let's say I have an espresso machine. I can search espresso machine here, and everything like the requests and the for sale comes up. So it works both ways.
Yeah, cool. But this does occur to me like it could open up a lot more transactions.
Right, yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm just curious, did the technology limit what you wanted to demo, or were you able to get your vision working?
I mean, yeah, essentially this is most of the way. We would want to implement more like security measures like payment escrow and like ratings, for example. I haven't implemented that, but I don't think that would be like too much of a threshold to cross. So.
And like, those are extra features as opposed to, hey, I really wanted to work a certain way, but I wasn't able to get the tools to do that.
No, yeah, I was able to build it up pretty much.
Yeah, I think some other cool features that are, next steps could be things like once you identify the product, automatically pulling in information from other websites or linking to where you could buy it on Amazon or other places, just to like kind of get more information and more things
Very cool. Good job.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Haroon, and I built Margin. And so I used Gemini 3 Flash for the entire UI, and then used Claude Opus 4.5 for the main like AI part that you'll see later on. But Margin is basically a AI-powered marketplace where autonomous agents can actually make deals on your behalf. And so if you've ever sold anything on Marketplace, eBay, so on and so forth, you know that the entire process is a huge struggle. You spend hours going back and forth with different lowballers, and the best offer you can get on your $200 item is like 80 bucks and like a high five. And so I kind of built Margin for buyers and sellers on these online marketplaces that were tired of this manual process of haggling. So I'll kind of show you guys the selling flow first. So let's say I want to sell my Xbox Series S, for example. So I can add my picture. I can just say that it's an Xbox Series S in good condition. It comes with the controller and wires. I can put the description and the flaws. I'll be honest and say that it's missing the battery pack. And then the most important part is that you can set your pricing strategy. So you can set your asking price, which is kind of the like publicly facing price that everyone sees. So I'll say 270, and then your floor price is the lowest price that your agent is authorized to go to. So we'll call it 250 for this one. And then you can also set how fast you want your agent to be able to sell it, which will kind of dictate how much it'll actually lower the price. So for now, I'll put moderate, and just for fun, you can kind of have your agent personality, which will be professional for now. So I will list my agent, and then let's say, you know, I'm the buyer and I want to find an Xbox Series S. So now you see all the listings of an Xbox Series S, and rather than going through all of them kind of one by one and trying to lowball all of them, I'll instead have my one like buying agent, and I'll give it a budget of, let's say, 250 to find any Xbox, and the max it can go up to is 300. Now, of course, it'll try to get the price as low as possible, but it's worst case going to get it for under 300. And I can deploy my buying agent, and it'll actually go through and contact all of these sellers individually and try to negotiate and get the best price. So you'll see pretty soon, one of the changes I made to it was I gave the agent like vision, so it can actually see all the pictures of the listings and then haggle that way. So if we see, for example, right here, you know, it's like going through and saying there's no like issues with like how it looks, but it can't see any of the underside, and it'll go through and try to ask questions. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so one big change I made was I actually gave these agents like a ton of books on trying to do like psychology, haggling, things like that. And so we can see it's like trying to price anchor by saying, you know, I see tested units for selling about 50 bucks less. So it's trying to go through and like kind of haggle one by one.
This is awesome.
Yeah. And so one kind of issue that I saw while I was making it is that the agent that was trying to buy would actually have multiple offers in the same text. So we see right here it said 235 and then instantly went up to 250. So that's kind of one thing I would change moving on. But it'll go through and like haggle
Don't
about
negotiate against yourself. Yeah.
It'll like go through and like haggle about like 15, 10 bucks. And it's like trying to say, you know, I have to leave in 2 hours to move somewhere, you know, making up all these random things. One time I was testing it, and it was talking about how like this like agent's wife would be super mad if it like went any lower than 230. So it's pretty cool how it'll like make up random stuff to try to sell this thing. So
I buy a lot of stuff on eBay, and I hear that shit all the time from real people. So
yeah.
well, exactly.
And so there's one thing I want to show you guys. Yet look, it's like trying to haggle over $1, literally 262 to 263. And so as it's going through all these agents, it'll kind of get deals individually, and then once it has deals from all the agents, it'll actually take its like lowest deal, go back to all the other sellers, and then try to haggle it down even further. So its entire point is trying to get the best price across the entire market. So it takes some time with the back and forth, but you should see
Has
it.
anyone heard of anything else like this? Does this exist? No?
I had not, no, I'm actually amazed that it doesn't.
I mean, we're all fucked.
It actually made me immediately think.
You don't have an AI
You
agent. bidding
could
for
go
you.
look for arbitrages, so you find someone willing to pay $300 for an Xbox, and then you go get it for $230.
And don't close the transaction until you both.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be really
Then you
cool.
just make money off that.
That's like a money machine.
Yeah.
All right, this is really cool. Feedback? No.
I assume you have both the buyer and the seller haggling agent?
Yeah. So when you're like listing your item, you can have the like seller have its own price range, and then the buyer has its own price range. And the like best part is trying to get the like seller to sell for less than what it's authorized to, which is kind of what this agent keeps trying to do. So yeah, we have both sides.
So it's agent against agent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can lowball kind of like shamelessly at this point.
This has got to happen. This is inevitable.
Yeah. Everyone talks about, your agents fighting with each other.
I feel like this would be most effective when it's like agent versus human. So maybe it'd be better as a Facebook Marketplace plugin where everyone else doesn't have their own agents. Because right now, when people come to your platform, yeah, they've got a team of agents on their side, but they're also like fighting against the best of the best agents on the other side. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
If it was in my neighborhood, I probably wouldn't use my name. I would use Josh's name. You get a bad reputation of haggling with your neighbors.
Right. Awesome. Great job. Really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So as we're going, I think we're switching now to the Evite demos. Is that right? Or more eBay? And so as we switch, just as you guys are thinking, we're going to ask you for some feedback after class. There'll be a survey that goes out. We don't promise to take any of your feedback, but we'll listen. Mostly I'm curious. Is this a good use of time? We're trying to make good use of your time when you're here in class. I think it's really interesting to see all these. Is this effective, and how anything we can do to make this, good use of time? Certainly, we're going to be learning from the first few sets of pitches and demos about how this is going and how we're grading them. We might adjust it a little bit based on what we see and what we're learning. And again, as I said at the beginning of the semester, first classes, it's going to keep the bar is going to keep going up. We're going to expect more and more from you as you all see what's going on. But this is a great start. I think it's off to a great start. And please do just think about that kind of feedback.
I'm learning a lot from the questions
from my questions.
Not yours, but the questions and comments we're getting. Is that okay to have more feedback from students?
I think let us ask questions first, but student questions are great too. Great.
All right, my name is Ronik. I'm a computer engineering major, and I built Athlete Hub using Cursor. So, with the raise of hands, how many of you could wish you could meet Arch Manning, get an autograph with him, or get a photo with him? So, what I built is a two-sided platform that is both for athletes to make some extra cash through NIL money, and also for the fans to actually go meet these different athletes at these called collegiate sports. So, we can first sign in. I'm gonna log in as Arch Manning. And so this is the dashboard right now. He's made staggering $5 million, but only has 3 attendees. So how it kind of works is that there's really 2 things that a athlete can do. First, they can create an event. So they create an event, they can have these different type of events that were generated, like meet and greet, training session, sports camp, autograph signing. Let's go with autograph signing. And then we can name the event, let's call it autographs. A little description, I'll write NA for now. And then you can have a date and time, let's say next Tuesday, 5:52. Sport is football, and location we can say Capital Factory. So once it's created, the athlete can have different types of tiers. So it can have the free tier and name how many spots there are. So we can say 50 spots here. Standard tier, let's say there's say 100 over here, and the ticket costs are 10. And then the VIP tier for the, can say like 25, and let's say 50. So let's continue, and then the event gets created. So now, after the event is created, now let's say a fan wants to go to this event, they can also log in with their event. They can go browse events and see all these different events. The one that just got created was this one. So they can choose their events. So let's say I'm a super fan, I want to get the VIP. So I confirm my RSVP. And now I'm RSVP for the event. And what else can happen is that when you RSVP for these events, you get points. So right now, Alex Thompson has 135 points. So by using these points, they can use and get different merch from the athlete. So let's say I want to get a signed jersey from Arch Manning, and I can use my 90 points and redeem these, put a shipping address, and confirm my purchase. And that gives me it allows me to get different merch from the athletes. And so if you go back to the athlete's viewpoint, let's log in here. So you can not market, manage merch. So an athlete can also create different merchandises which they want to sell and with how many points they want. Also, another way for athletes to have more fan base is have squad members. So if someone's a fan of Arch Manning, they can pay like a flat fee, like $10 a month, and that will allow them to join their his fan squad, which will give them exclusive events and also extra points. And the final feature that was built is the marketplace. So let's go back to the fan view. For any reason I'm unable to go to the autograph event, or I see there's a high demand so I can make a profit out of it, I can go to the marketplace and I can sell my ticket. I can list my ticket and say, maybe this is a very high demand event, so I'll say, I want to sell it for $100. So you list the tickets, and now this is a kind of like an eBay for these events now, so they can go and anyone else can go to these events and see which ones are left over to buy. So yeah, that's basically what I built.
Awesome. All right, side first.
Well, I think this is really interesting. I've like done some work with Twitch streamers, and they have talent agencies that book events like this for them. So they're, I'll say like secondary kind of celebrities. So I think there's probably a whole market that is underserved that people would be interesting, like have so-and-so show up my birthday party, whatever. So I think it's a good idea, and I think the demo worked well. It was enough to kind of show how it would work. And so I think it did a good job of making it real.
Yeah, it wasn't just a base case. I like the merch add-on and the tiers of tickets. What were some of the challenges that you ran into in wiring this up?
So there's a lot of moving parts. So like there's the marketplace, there's the merch. So like there were a lot of bugs that were created during that. So I had to test it multiple times and see, oh, now it actually works. And so there's a lot.
Sorry, what did you remind me what you used?
Cursor.
Cursor.
Yeah, like the merch points tying to the bank account, essentially, of
Yes.
the user. It's tricky.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. I like it a lot. I like how it's not Evite. You riffed on it and went in a different direction, which is great. This is a great example of we don't want to force everybody to have the inspiration every week, so it'd be fine if you made Evite as well. But I think this is a really cool differentiation. I think the next thing, almost getting back to the pitch side of it, to really take, if you were to take this to the next level, it's figuring out not just anybody that this would be good for, but like, who are the people that would actually do this a lot? What kind of people? What level of celebrity? Is it Arch? Is it somebody else? Like, did you talk to Arch? Would he want to actually do this? Like, right? Doing a test event with people to show that they would sign up and what they would pay. All those things would really inform that a lot. And even identifying like what kinds of events are most likely to be really, popular or successful. So like that's where the kind of the customer and research side of it would then really kind of sharpen the edge of this, make it, okay, we know exactly who this is for and how it's gonna work. Pretty cool. It's like Cameo.
Exactly. There was an app for athletes to create their own summer camps. That kind of seems similar to this too. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Akshat and this is my spin-off on Evite and it's called NoFlake. So the issue I was trying to solve is that a lot of people say that they're going to...
What's your major? What school are you in?
Oh, I'm a computer science major and I use Claude Code to build this. And yeah, so the issue I'm trying to solve is that a lot of people say that they're going to show up to events, but they actually end up flaking. And so this way hosts tend to overcompensate a lot. And specifically this matters more for events where knowing how many people are going to show up actually matters. For example, if you're buying pizza, you don't want to be buying extra boxes. So let's get into it. This is my profile screen right here. It is a mobile app. And so as you can see, my name is Alex Johnson over here. I have a little profile picture. My reliability score is 75, which is solid, and there's a bunch of other labels as well. And I have a lot of dummy data over here. So this is my event history. So a bunch of the different events I've attended, how my score is calculated, etc. I'm gonna change my reference photo. And so let's go here into events. I can see my list of events over here. And as you can see, since the deadline has passed, maybe is no longer an option. So in this case, I've selected yes. And I can click on this event and see the guest list. So these are all the different guests that will be attending. As you can see, I have not been checked in yet. Okay, so the main feature of this is kind of to get like a attendance type vibe going on, and that kind of influences your reliability score. So as you can see, Alex Johnson's right here. He has not been checked in. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check in. So I can take a picture of myself. Jeez. All right. So my attendance has been verified. Ideally, you would also select your event. And since there's only one event going on right now, I don't really have to select anything. And so the AI kind of checks with your reference photo and makes sure that like you are the one who's actually at the event. In the future, I would want it to be so that you have to take a picture with the host. But for demo purposes, use location.
Location also might help.
My mom was called.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so location and definitely just like taking a picture with the host that way. Yeah.
We
so
can
that
talk
way-
to her if you want.
Okay, so as you can see now, Alex Johnson has been checked in, and this would update in real time as more people check in as well. And if you go to my profile, my reliability score has increased, and my Coffee and Code meetup has been marked as attended.
Nice.
So if we go in Vault as well, these are like this is gonna be like a gallery of all my images. I can go to the Coffee and Code meetup one, my picture's right here. And yeah, so basically, if the host has made the gallery public, then you can see like everyone's pictures, and so that way, like you have a good way of remembering the event as well. But they could also set it as just private, and that way, like those privacy is kept. So we could also create an event here. So let's say I'm the host, and I'm gonna say it's my birthday. Event date, event time, we'll just keep it as is. Added this cool little scrolly feature. Location, we'll say it's the block. Okay. Oh, there we go. And I could change the RSVP deadline. So by this point, people have to change their maybe into a definite yes or no. And I can create this event. And I could also choose like the gallery privacy over here, public or private. In this case, I'll make it public. There, we created the event. If we click on it, you can share the link to your contacts. You can copy it, edit the thing as needed. I'm gonna add dummy attendees for now. So we have 6 dummy attendees now. And as you can see over here, Emma Davis is a high-risk flaker. And Lisa Wang is solid. And these are the people who have said that they will be coming, right? So I can manually check these people in as well. So if I just click this check mark, check in, they've been successfully checked in. And if I go back, I can see that, okay, I have 4 yes RSVPs, and I should expect about like 3 people to show up. And that's because, Lisa's a high-risk flaker. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the MVP. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So in real life demos, things like your mom calling can really happen, and you play right through it. So yeah.
But if you would have been better if you got her incorporated into the demo.
I don't know that.
I think this is really cool. I think this is a real issue. I plan a lot of events. There's a cool events company in town called Gatsby.events, and they have a feature like this, where as you invite people, it shows you which events they've previously attended and gives you a bit of a how likely are they to come if you invite them. I think it's just it just ends up being like binary. They'll just put up a little thing like not likely to attend, but I don't think it gives you like the updated number. Kind of like the last demo that we were looking at, the next step in this would be really thinking about, okay, like which kinds of events actually really give a shit about this? Like everybody kind of cares, but like which events does it really matter? Which events is it like for example, there's 12 seats at the table. Like there's exactly 12 seats. Like we want them all. I don't know what that is, right? Certainly when it's expensive, you have to buy things. Some places they want a really full crowd or audience. I don't know what it might be. But it might be like figuring out what the real use case is.
Yeah, I think you'd add location services, so
Yep.
so you don't have to check people in, they just show up there and they get checked in automatically. Business-wise, there's all kinds of events, and there's a bunch of things like showing up for corporate training and checking off that people have done things.
Ooh.
And so, just the ability to track, have people done the
So
things.
now he's
they
into
said,
like where it matters.
Or even like, did the workers show up at my work site?
Yep.
So there's a whole bunch of cases where you could identify cases where you need to know if people actually showed up, and then the app which made it easy to track if they did. So it's more than just birthday parties.
Anjali, here's your new attendance tracker. For class. Yeah.
All right, good job.
All right, thank you guys.
Go call your mom. Public service announcement, when the keyboard thing pops up, click quit or the red button like you just did.
Got it.
Go away.
All right, guys. My name is Colin Cunningham. I'm a computer science major. I made this with Claude Code, and then I ran out of credits, so then I started using Codex. Got it done. Kind of funny, you guys are alluding to this. My MVP is a GeoVite. It's location-based check-ins, so kind of funny. But I want to give you all a little anecdote. I used to run a club in high school. I was like the founding member of it, and I really had to like, you know, hit it with like while I was running, right? Like get it going because I was a senior and I didn't have much time to really make the club popular. So, and also I had a teacher sponsor and I had to give her like who came to every meeting every time. And so I would usually just like write down people's names at the beginning, and then someone would walk in, I'd forget, and then I'd get attendance wrong. And then also when everyone was leaving, I'd be like, oh, how was the meeting, guys? And they didn't want to be a dick, and so they'd just say, oh, yeah, it was good. And so, not good feedback. I didn't know what to really change about my meetings, and I'd also mess up the attendance a lot. And so this is kind of the inspiration behind GeoVite. So we're gonna go into a host account and go to the hosting tab because we are a host. And as you can see here, there's an upcoming event, there's a live event and an ended event. And in this app, you get a dashboard of how your event went, who RSVP'd versus who actually arrived, and also who arrived exactly, as well as survey responses. So with this app, you can actually set up exit ticket surveys once your event ends. And as you can see, no one answered our event, kind of sad, but we have a live event right now. Apparently a GeoVite demo is going on at the Capital Factory. Whoa. That's pretty cool. So let's sign out and go to a guest account. And oh, look at that. We have a pending survey. Oh my gosh, it's for that event. Okay, so our guest is mean, didn't like the event. She learned nothing. Okay, it's been submitted, but now, oh crap, okay, wait. Sorry, this is a little, I forgot. I have event codes. Okay, GOV 856. Okay, so we're gonna go here as a guest. We're gonna add the event. Okay. Boom. So we're looking at the event details for the GeoVite demo. We see all the details of the Capital Factory. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna come to this event. And right now, our location is at Apple. And so nothing's going on because we're not at the event. But let's set this to a custom location, which is where the demo is set at. Just wait for it. I hope this works. Oh, look at that, at the top. You're checked in. You didn't have to do anything. There's so much less friction in that than actually, having to sign in a 10 seat or hold a whole roll call and then having to figure out, oh, if someone came late, add this to the list. So much easier. You literally just show up and you're checked in. Easiest thing ever. And last thing I want to show you guys is, since Alice did her survey, we can go back as the host and look at this survey and see, oh, look, there's a response. I'm so glad someone responded. Oh, they hated my event. Well, now I know that I need to make some changes. And so that's my MVP. Some challenges I had along the way were, when I was prompting to create this, I did not, I told it what I wanted it to do, but I did not think about the user experience at all. So when I first generated it, there was an events tab and an invites tab, and they were kind of redundant. They'd show up, some events would show up on both if you're going to it and you're hosting it. And also, most people are either gonna be mainly guests or mainly hosts. So I realized I needed to separate those things. Also, the exit surveys were very hidden. You had to go in there to actually do them. So I decided, why don't I just notify a user when they have one, basically put in their face that you gotta do the survey. And so that was the main thing I've learned while iterating through this, is definitely focusing on UX and UI. I cared too much about just the functionality and not enough of that. And yeah, that's about it.
Great use of storylining, the whole thing. Delivery really comes alive when you tell a story. And I thought the high school party or breakfast you're talking about is super meaningful. You could shorten it and go right in, you know?
Got it.
And then, because you kept the storyline going all the way through, so it's really, really cool. And I also like how you really did wire up the front end, the back end, the geo. I wondered, question, could you just walk in and have it know what geo you're in, say? Because you know how you had trouble remembering the code?
Oh yeah, that was.
Could you just walk in and have it geolocate you and say, okay, you're at this event?
Yeah, the code was to like add it to my list of events as a guest. That's mainly for just demoing purposes. That is something like if I were to flesh this out, I'd want to make like a a better system for just inviting people to events as a host. I didn't know if I wanted to have like logins because it seemed like against the whole idea of making it frictionless, but then I didn't know how to do that while still like knowing who's who with all that. So that was just something I just made the codes for like ease of demoing.
Yeah, it was great. I would also, just for everybody, at the end of your demo, it's nice to do a recap. So you set up the problem really well, right? You took us through it, and then at the end, you could say, and so we hit, we solved problem 1, problem 2, and problem 3 that I outlined at the beginning of my demo.
It's a good idea.
Like wrap it, and then people are excited.
Yeah, there's some sort of line between like simulating what's going on and actually showing it. Like when it popped up and said you're registered, you're here, like that's pretty cool. So like even like having one of your friends walk in with their phone here and it popping up, oh look, so-and-so's arrived. So like there's ways like that to make the demos like more impactful and interesting.
Yeah, right. I'll get my mom in on it next time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, great job, good job. Next one.
Thank you.
Mom's pretty much guaranteed for extra credit.
Hi, my name is Zahra Shakely, and today I'll be pitching my take on e-bikes. So question, how many of y'all have RSVP'd to the party, and as soon as you click yes, you absolutely have no idea what to give them? And then you end up giving them another generic $20 Amazon gift card. Don't worry, you are not alone. I've done that way, way, way more than once. Oftentimes, a lot of birthday party guests have no idea what to give the host. This not only adds stress, but it leads to misaligned gifts, and overall makes the gift-giving process way more stressful than it needs to be. My tool aims to close that gap and truly help birthday party guests and hosts alike to really find and make this process as easy as possible. How I do this is through my MVP tool called Birthday Mode. So it starts pretty simple, mimicking the typical Evite UI with creating an event, seeing your events, and trying a demo event. So let's see what happens when I step into the role of creating an event. Awesome. So over here, it's very similar to the existing Evite UI. So I can put in my birthday party name. So I'm assuming it's my birthday party, even though it's very far from my birthday right now. I'll add a date, a time, a location, and anything. I can even add a
Make
cover
the text
photo.
a little
This-
bigger. Too. Zoom in. There you go.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that helps. You can add a photo just to add a little bit more of a personal touch. But this is all good and well, but what really differentiates it is the birthday mode. So once I click birthday mode, I can add the person's name, so my name. I can also add my interests. So I'll add mine, but y'all can also scream out your interests if you want this to be factored in. Anyone?
Dogs.
What, dogs? Okay, awesome. Okay, so in 100 people, we have one interest in dogs. That's cool. I love dogs too. Okay, awesome. I can also add a wish list. So I just say I want a necklace, I want a tennis racket. Unfortunately, my tennis rackets cost $300, but it's that one. Quite unfortunate.
Candle.
Anyone else?
A candle.
candle, okay. A lot more cost effective. Anyone else?
An iPhone.
iPhone, oh. Maybe an iPhone 4 I can afford. Okay, so then you can add a gift note, and the last part is the reminders. And reminders are really important because oftentimes it's 24 hours before the event, and you have absolutely no idea how many people are coming, and it's very stressful. So I'll set it 24 hours. Hopefully the pizza comes in time, and I click create event. Awesome. So I wanted to make this really conducive to how people communicate now, and a lot of that is through sending links over text messages. So you can easily copy this link and send it to all your friends. So now let's step into the shoes of someone who is RSVPing. Right here, okay, awesome. So I can just enter my name. Wow, I'm gonna be RSVPing to my own birthday party. Who would have thought I'd be there? I submit my RSVP, and now here's where it gets a little cool. So based on the interest we put in, it gives smart suggestions on what gifts you can bring. So for example, it says overgrip, tennis balls, and yeah. But another thing is based on the wish list, it shows whatever the actual host wanted. Now, here's a slight issue with the wish list that I ran into. What if everyone sees the same wish list and now you have 20 tennis rackets or 20 candles? So to avoid this, we have a claiming system. So when you click, I'll get this. Now all the other people who have RSVP'd will see that and will probably, hopefully not get the same gift for you. So you can also, if you're getting something outside of the wish list, you can also save here. Awesome. So now, when I click save, let's go back to see how our host is doing. They can look at the host's dashboard, and now they can see, okay, yeah, let's see, there's one person going, and look at the guest responses. I also purposely didn't have a maybe feature because that just adds too much stress on the host side. And I also ran into another thing where I was like, what if there's a person who just loves throwing birthday parties, you know, because birthday parties definitely don't only happen once a year. They can see their events also here and create more events. So overall, this is a pretty simple product, but I thought it solved a real need. I have been to a bunch of birthday parties where I just have no idea what to bring, and I think definitely having a list of their wish list as well as their interests would be a good starting point. If I did have an extra week, I would definitely focus on just refining the UI, making this something that's really visually stunning, that really captures the attention of birthday party goers. So yeah, I built this using Replit, and yeah. Questions?
I thought this was great. I would say the next thing you would probably want to think about too is how do you integrate with other systems? So Amazon obviously has wish lists of various types, and most major stores do. So figuring out how to do the, at least some lightweight API integration or cross integration with them would probably be a really powerful feature. That would be a good thing to use AI for, is probably figure that out.
Yeah, that's something cool.
I'd really like the gift tie-in. Do you consider that a major component? And if so, would it be a bug? I don't see any mention of it at the top half of the service description.
Yeah, the thing is, I actually started this where I just built the basic e-bike. But then after I heard a lot of the pitches, I was like, wow, I think I need to really revamp this and make this a lot more unique. So that's kind of where I build the screens for the birthday mode. So I'm actually coming into this, I built it just as a basic e-bike. So I think if I had that foresight earlier, I would have really tailored even the landing page to really highlight that gift giving aspect, because I think that's what really differentiates it from regular e-bike, because e-bike doesn't have the ability to kind of ease that birthday party pain point.
Yeah. Do you mean while the pitches were going on, you went and added it on or last real time? While we were waiting right now.
It was kind of like I started building it a little bit earlier to when I saw like the pitches. So then I kind of refined it in that week after, where I was like, okay, let me see what I can add to make this stand out a little bit more.
I don't know if you're all doing this already, but just to reiterate on some of what Andrew said, if I were to approach the question of how do I get other wish lists and gift list registries into this, I would ask the AI that. I would be like, hey, how can I get other things in here from other places? What APIs are available? What data sources? How else might I be able to get it? And a lot of times it'll give you suggestions. Another one might be, how should I organize my landing page to really emphasize how my product is different from the typical Evite, you know, and just like using it as not just a tool to do exactly what you said, but also as like a planning tool to help figure it out.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, awesome.
We're gonna do on Slack pitches now.
Right, so that's all the demos? All right, let's take a break from demos for a second, or break from presentations. That was a whole bunch. Those were great. I really enjoyed seeing those. Other people who did not present, do you have any questions or things you want to share with the rest of the group? Go for it.
I use Replit, and I already went through my $25 credits. Does anybody else use another model that does now have to do the demo for this week?
It's like $25. Yeah, it's like $25 a
my
month.
credits don't renew until February 14th, and it'll charge you based on the processing power that it uses, and so I can do that. But if anyone else has a tool that's more
Any other
bang for
thoughts
your
on
buck.
most efficient for credits?
Cursor gives 1 year free for students.
What?
All right. Any info on how? Do you have to use your student ID?
Yeah. All right.
Cursor 1 year free. Well, that'll.
I'm trying
And
to
we're trying to get some more.
Yeah, I've contacted someone who's a Cursor ambassador for UT, and I think they said that they'd give us credits for a year.
Yeah. Sounds like you can just sign up through ID.
I'd also just mention that I use Replit only for the coding. I do everything else outside. So, you know, I do all the refinement of the prompts and then just paste the final prompt in. I mean, Replit is optimized for building the websites out, and the brainstorming just do in ChatGPT.
So you could do that in ChatGPT and then say, help me make a prompt for Replit.
Yeah.
Tell it that's what it is.
And I paste that.
Yeah. Great question. Anyone else?
Most of these you could also probably, I mean, I think a lot of people are doing this, but you could run on localhost, which will save you a lot of pain, because then all the execution stuff is going to be happening on your computer, so.
Explain that a little bit more.
I mean, if you're using, depends on what you're using, but if you're using Claude Code, for example, you can just run it all on your local machine. You don't need to host it anywhere. So therefore, you don't have to deal with hosting. So Replit's a hybrid of both the model and the host. So I don't know if you're burning through hosting credits or model credits, but if you use Claude Code, and I think Cursor probably will work this way too, you're only going to be paying model credits and not hosting credits. So it might be a little more efficient.
Great. And you know, a lot of, like, for example, we found there's a Cursor student rep on campus, and and I reached out to the person from OpenAI. Apparently, they just had a baby, so I don't know when they're going to respond to my email. But if you know contacts, we'll reach out to them. Like, we're trying to reach out to people we know. Most of them will give you guys credits. We just have to find the right person to ask, so we can get more things like that too.
Could anyone share how they're handling the UI for their app? Are you loading in designs or sketches, or just telling it what you want? What's getting you the best results?
Has anybody loaded in sketches? Yeah.
So initially, when I was using Claude, like the UI was pretty boring and bland. And then what I did is I just like pasted that same PRD that I put into Claude into Stitch, and then Stitch like made a much better design, and you could also just like tell to change this one page and make like features as you did. So I thought that was pretty nice. And then you could just like copy paste the HTML code from Stitch and put that into Claude or whatever you're using, and then Claude will like format it accordingly and make it work on it.
So, and Topic did a blog post on why all the UIs look the same. And essentially, it's like, it's an average of everything. And so they even had a prompt in there about, be more creative and whatever. So I go find the blog post, and it turns the generic, it got a little crazy when I did it, a little bit too much. But yeah, there's some good examples there.
Psychedelic Claude. Oh, yeah.
I also found Stitch to be some of the best UI generation. And then you can also, in Stitch, you can now directly import into Google AI Studio, which will generate a bunch of the UI front-end code for you, and then you can download that and send it into Claude, which might be a little bit more sophisticated than the output from basic Stitch. So And I don't know if you guys get Google stuff for free as part of your student packages, but if you do,
Do you
there's
get Gemini
definitely something. Like if you get Gemini, you probably can use Stitch, because it's just Stitch dot with, like they're all dot with google.com. But I think they're all kind of the same, because I think it is the underlying model is a Gemini variant.
And you can push the Replit and Lovable to GitHub and just pull it down and just keep going in Claude Code or something like that. I think if we get to the point where these automated solutions start breaking and you need to have more control over it, you would do that and then start using Cursor or something.
Cursor and Anti-Gravity, they can actually access the web browser and like open it up. So if you're working on a website or like a web app, it can automatically connect to the browser, open the web, or open the website, and then capture screenshots and like go from there. So if you want to make UI pages, I've noticed that that's pretty useful.
So letting it control the browser directly. Other suggestions? Is that one of that?
Yeah. And Lovable, I didn't do it for this project, but for another one I did take a screenshot of like what I wanted it to look like and specify like exactly like okay, I want these features, this header, nav, or like everything like that. And it did like a pretty good job, but like it doesn't get all the details. So
Screenshots are also a good way to fix problems. So if you have a problem with what you're getting out of the model, you can take a screenshot of what you've got, then give it to the model and say, fix these specific things. So that works.
Yeah, if you're in Claude Code or some of those commands, Playwright, you can use the Playwright MCP to run the browser. And so it'll go and test it. And sometimes when I tell it to add a feature, then I say, well, don't stop until you've tested it. And it'll launch the browser, it'll take screenshots and do all that. So Playwright's the browser automation code. And I imagine multiple AIs, the command line ones can use it.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to install MCP servers, just say install Playwright or install a web browser control MCP, and it'll do it for you.
What about on the pitches? Is the pitch assignment clear? You guys understand what you're doing with it? Is anybody having any questions or concerns about it? Okay, so for this next week, just as we're catching up, we just went through, showed the demos. Everybody also submitted pitches this week. We have some pitches. I'm not sure if we're gonna get time to do them today. You should all be working on a new set of demos, which will be due Friday, which we'll be showing next Tuesday. As you can see, there's a kind of a range of different types of projects, and we're only picking 10 to show, right? There's like 100 of them. And so, probably for some, even just for variety's sake, we're picking the ones that are a little bit different. It's okay if some of them were more direct of what we told you to build, but I like seeing the people riffing on it with different ideas and different takes. And I think in general, like, we're very open to you building your own ideas. In my own experience, it can be hard to come up with 5 good ideas in 10 weeks or whatever. And so we tried to give you like a ramp up of like, here are some things to work with and some at least things to riff off of. But as you get more comfortable, you can have more flexibility too. I don't feel like you have to be limited by it. That's more meant to be an inspiration for you. Eric, Andrew, TJ, do you want to talk any more about what you're seeing from coding, what you're seeing from the demos, what to expect, like anything?
You mean specifically about the demos, or you
Well,
want
just as we think about the next round, they're working on right now the next set of demos.
No, I thought the demos were pretty good and interesting. I think it's challenging. I think with a lot of these things to figure out exactly where to stop, because there's dangerous rabbit holes in all these things, and you could spend a ludicrous amount of time trying to solve a problem that doesn't really matter. So I think part of going from the basic part of what we didn't really talk about a lot is the basic idea of an MVP as a product, and part of what makes products good is knowing which features matter and which features do not matter, and knowing when to stop and draw the line. And it's really, as you continue to build things, sometimes it's easy to get super excited and way overbuild things and go way too far. So, try to chart your course as much as you can up front and stick to what you're trying to get to. You'll probably find a couple of things along the way, but that you'll want to add, but try not to go too far and focus on iteration and polish.
The true minimum viable product is not about something that is really a great demonstration of what it doesn't really work. The key word is viable. It's that it's actually useful. It's like, what's the least you need to do that would actually, people would use every day, would really be useful. And like Andrew said, what makes that super hard is actually deciding what not to do, because you can only and often what really matters is a very small subset. Getting the right subset really helps you helps you figure out what matters. As a super simple example, as we talk about Capital Factory sometimes, this was just a conversation that's come up recently, and we were talking about the benefits of when you join Capital Factory and you become part of our portfolio and what you get. And we tend to focus on, we're gonna help you raise money, we're gonna help you meet customers, we're gonna help you hire people. Those are like three really important things. And there's a big debate about like how we position like your access to the space and co-working and things like that, because it's something that kind of changes over time, and honestly, like, we just don't want to be grouped with all the co-working spaces. Like, we don't want to be called the co-working space. And I just kind of said to everybody, I was like, guys, is anybody gonna not join Capital Factory because they don't get 6 months of co-working? And I think the answer to that is totally no. Like, they're not coming to us for the co-working, right? So like, that's not part of the minimum viable product. We don't actually have to have that be part of it. And I think that's kind of the realization for you of like, what really matters? What's gonna make somebody really use this or not? And which features, what's killer? Something I saw some of today, and I just want to continue to see, those were just the first demos. We're going to do this a bunch of times, and we want to see it keep getting better and better. I want you to feel challenged by each other. What I'm really going for, like my ultimate feeling of like success for this, is you being impressed with yourself about what you got done this week, and being like, wow, holy crap, like bragging to your friend or to your mom or dad, or like, do you know what I built this week? Like, and it's real, like it actually does it. And like, that's what you should be able to do. And I saw some of that today, but like, yeah, push yourself a little bit on like, okay, like I'm gonna demo it, but like this thing's gonna actually work, or like it's gonna pull in real data, it's gonna use this API, it's gonna do something else. Because I think you're gonna, over the semester, be really surprised by what you can do and what you see everybody else doing too.
The other thing I would say in relation to that is feedback is a really interesting thing. And so as you're up there or you're in the audience listening to that feedback, if it's feedback to you, sometimes it's hard to hear and it's frustrating because you already thought of that, but you didn't have time to do it, or you didn't demo that part of it, but you did it, or you didn't think about it and now you feel bad because you didn't think about it. That's all sort of natural stuff that you need to learn and experience to sort of get better at pitching. But I think if you're just watching pitches and you listen to feedback from us, or people like us, if you're raising money, you're going to be pitching to lots of people who are going to both say annoying things to you, but also say really dumb things to you that don't really help you. And so you have to be thoughtful about filtering feedback and understanding how to use that feedback. And so I would say, like, it's been a long time since I was in college, but and I can't remember how much I looked up to people or not in that period, but I think you just have to be careful to not take everything that gets said as, oh my gosh, I should have done this thing that these guys asked about, or something, because sometimes those are going to be tangents, and those are inputs that are interesting and valuable, but they're not, the final word. You have to shape what you're doing yourself and have a degree of confidence or faith in what you're doing and believing in, which I think speaks to what Josh was talking about a little bit as well. But that's, I think, really important.
Yeah, you want to stick to Andrew's point, you want to stick to what you want to make sure you get across. And you could hear it in some of the demos today where there's a big difference in a feature review where you just stand up and say, feature, 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 look at all these things it can do. And another where you're telling the story and describing the problem and then showing them how you're solving the problem with what you built. It's a much more interesting way, and especially investors will be looking for something like that. And you will get questions from investors that throw you off, and you'll get bugs and things can get glitchy. I thought everything's working really well. I was really impressed at how you're wiring features together and the interactivity. And then if you do get the dumb questions, think about Henry Kissinger had a very famous moment when he stood up before a press conference and he said, "Okay, who has the questions for my answers?" He's like, "I'm going to get my story out regardless of what you ask."
That's a good one. Yeah. Eric, did you have anything else?
I mean, just, it's the same thing everyone else said. As we go further in this, we really want to make sure we're focusing on the novel aspects of the idea. And I would say, it'd be great if it all worked as a demo and you could deploy it immediately, but I think if you just get the idea across, and like, I know what a shopping cart is, and if that's not a critical part of what you're trying to convince me, it's fine, it's just over there. But,
Yeah, for example, you might have an account that already has stuff in its cart.
yeah, so I might just be thinking about, from the very beginning, what am I showing and what's unique and how do I lean into that?
Honestly, any notes from you?
Not really, but maybe next class.
Okay. Office hours, is that published and clear? Have people been able to go to those? Do we know when you want to repeat when those are?
I mean, we have them available. I've posted them on announcements. You can always email me and schedule a meeting with me through that. And then our TAs are available. I know Shreyas stays back after class on Tuesdays, and so does TJ. So
Great. All right. I think that's probably pretty good for today. So we'll wrap up a little bit early, and we'll be here to answer questions. Great job, and yeah, looking forward to seeing the next batch of demos next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Also, I'm going to share a link with you guys to get the Cursor Pro. You just have to fill out a form, and then you should be able to get it within a couple days.